All right, welcome everyone. This is the June 27, 2025 business meeting of the Washington State Commission on Judicial Conduct. I'm Judge Christian Hedin. I'm the current chair of the commission. And the first item of business is announcement of commission decisions or stipulations. We do have one decision that is to be read into the record at this time. And that is case number 13057-F-215, in re the matter of the Honorable Robert O'Neill, former Commissioner of the Everett Municipal Court. And this is a stipulation, agreement, and order of reprimand. The Commission on Judicial Conduct and Robert O'Neill, former Everett Municipal Court Commissioner, stipulate and agree as follows. This stipulation is entered pursuant to Article 4, Section 31, Sub 7 of the Washington Constitution and Rule 23 of the Commission on Judicial Conduct Rules of Procedure. The Commission has been represented in these proceedings by its Executive Director, J. Rico Kalner, and Commissioner O'Neill has been represented by Attorney Jason Lance. Stipulated facts. Robert O'Neill, the respondent, served as the Commissioner of the Everett Municipal Court from January 13 to January 22, 2025. On January 18, 2025, at approximately 5:30 p.m., while attempting to disembark a Washington State ferry in Mukilteo, Washington, respondent rear-ended the car in front of him, pushing that vehicle into the car in front of it. An investigation of that accident by a Washington State Patrol trooper led to respondent's arrest for driving under the influence of alcohol and/or drugs, DUI. At the police station, respondent's breath alcohol concentration test result was 0.16 and 0.18. The legal limit in Washington State is 0.0. On January 22, 2025, respondent resigned his position at Everett Municipal Court because of this incident. Respondent's counsel contacted the Commission on Judicial Conduct on January 28, 2025, on his client's behalf to report respondent's arrest for DUI. Respondent has not yet been charged with the crime, but wishes to resolve this matter with the Commission. Agreement. Respondent's conduct violated the Code of Judicial Conduct. Based upon the above stipulated facts, respondent agrees that he violated Canon 1, Rules 1.1 and 1.2 of the Code of Judicial Conduct. Rule 1.1 requires judges to, quote, comply with the law, including the Code of Judicial Conduct, end quote. Rule 1.2 requires judges to, quote, act at all times in a manner that promotes public confidence in the independence, integrity, and impartiality of the judiciary, and to avoid impropriety and the appearance of impropriety, end quote. Respondent agrees that he violated Rules 1.1 and 1.2 of the Code by driving his vehicle after consuming alcohol. Imposition of sanction. The sanction imposed by the Commission must be commensurate to the level of respondent's culpability, sufficient to restore and maintain the public's confidence in the integrity of the judiciary, and sufficient to deter similar acts of misconduct in the future. In determining the appropriate level of discipline to impose, the Commission takes into account those factors listed in CJC RP 6 sub C. First, characteristics of the misconduct. DUI is a serious offense that can result in great bodily injury, and this accident did result in injury to another driver. Respondent was insured, and restitution to the accident victims is being handled by his insurer. DUI cases are a significant portion of the dockets over which the Commissioner of Everett Municipal Court presides. The public has a reasonable expectation that judicial officers will comply with the criminal laws they enforce upon others. Respondent's actions undermine public respect for him and the judiciary as a whole. This is, however, an isolated incident. Respondent has no prior judicial misconduct history nor criminal history. The misconduct occurred outside the courtroom in respondent's private life, and there is no basis to conclude that respondent intentionally violated his oath of office. Service and demeanor of the judge. Respondent has acknowledged the acts occurred, and by self-reporting and entering into this agreement even before being charged with a crime, he has accepted responsibility for his conduct. He has completed inpatient treatment and is currently in outpatient treatment for alcohol use disorder, which evidences an effort to avoid repeating the behavior that led to this disciplinary action. Respondent promptly self-reported this incident and has cooperated with the Commission throughout these proceedings. Noting that DUI matters were common in Everett Municipal Court and that he should not preside over them while this matter was pending in the courts, respondent resigned his judicial position. Number two, weighing and balancing the above factors, respondent and the Commission agree that respondent's stipulated misconduct shall be sanctioned by the imposition of a reprimand. A reprimand is a written action of the Commission that requires a judge to appear personally before the Commission and finds that the conduct of the respondent is a violation of the Code of Judicial Conduct. It requires that the judge follow a specified corrective course of conduct. Reprimand is an intermediate level of discipline. Number three, because respondent has completed inpatient treatment and resigned his judicial position, the further remedial measures are a requirement that he not repeat the misconduct and that full restitution is made to the accident victims. Respondent agrees that by entering into this stipulation and agreement, he hereby waives his procedural rights and appeal rights pursuant to the Commission on Judicial Conduct Rules of Procedure and Article 4, Section 31 of the Washington State Constitution in this proceeding. And that is signed by Robert O'Neill, the respondent, by Jason Lance, his attorney, and by J. Rico Kalner, the Executive Director of the Commission on Judicial Conduct. Order of reprimand. Based upon the above stipulation and agreement, the Commission on Judicial Conduct hereby orders respondent Robert O'Neill reprimanded for violating Canon 1, Rules 1.1 and 1.2 of the Code of Judicial Conduct. Respondent shall not engage in such conduct in the future and shall fulfill all of the terms of the stipulation and agreement as set forth therein. Dated this 27th day of June, 2025, and that's signed by me, Christian Nadine, Chair of the Commission on Judicial Conduct. That would give the yes attorney.
So the judicial officer involved and his attorney are attending this meeting. They're doing so remotely over Zoom, and it is the practice of the Commission to afford but not require the respondent to make any comments that he would like to make at this point.
Good morning. I'd just like to thank the chair of the Commission and the members of the Commission. I'd like to thank the professionalism of Ms. Lodemaker and Ms. Kalner. And on behalf of my client, I appreciate the thoughtfulness and the decision of the Commission today. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And should we presume that your client would not want to add further comments?
That's right, Your Honor. I have spoken with him previously, and these comments on his behalf as well.
Very good.
All right, thank you. All right, that'll conclude the announcement of Commission decisions or stipulations. The next item on our agenda is the approval of our business session minutes from our prior meeting in April. Are there any questions or comments regarding the minutes? Seeing none, does anybody wish to make a motion to approve the minutes as written? Judge Diaz is so moving, and Judge Briggs is, Commissioner Briggs is seconding. All right, any discussion? Seeing none, all those in favor of approving the minutes as written, say aye.
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 Any opposed? All right, the minutes are approved. The next item on our agenda is chairperson's report. I do have a brief report. The executive committee consisting of myself, Commissioner Ramon, and Alvarez, thank you. And Judge Rukoff met with Rico, Ms. Kalner, and discussed the beginning stages of putting together a subcommittee to work on finding a successor for Ms. Kalner when she retires at the end of next year, 2026. So we've just had that first meeting, had discussion about it. So anybody on the commission who might be interested in serving on that subcommittee, please let me know. We would, I think what we'll be doing is forming a subcommittee of somewhere between 5 and 7 people to work on the steps that will be taken to find what will be, I think, a yeoman job to find a replacement for Ms. Kalner. So
I do want to note that once you hit 6, you've got quorum, and you're subject to the Open Public Meeting Act.
So we'll have a committee of 5. All right. So that concludes the chairperson's report. The next item on the agenda is the executive director's report. Ms. Kalner.
Thank you. So the very good news that I shared previously via email is that even in the face of a challenging budget year, the Commission's decision package in requesting additional funds for hiring with more staff and infrastructure to support that was achieved and was granted by the legislature, which is extremely good news, especially looking at the approximately 200% increase in caseload that we've had. So I want to thank again the help that was really significant and useful on the part of the members who reached out to the legislators in support of our decision package. We're really grateful for that. And it's the state, so there's steps you have to take, but we're setting up our allotments for expenditure funds, and we're going to get pretty promptly into the process of looking for and hiring new staff to help out with the caseload. And then that gets me to commission membership. So this meeting is the last meeting for longtime commission members Judy Stanton, which I mentioned in the executive director report, and is confirmed by conversation on the phone yesterday for long-standing attorney member Ryan Archer, who is attending the Zoom today. And so a little bit more about that. Ryan was first appointed as an alternate lawyer member back in 2016, and he was appointed first as a regular member in 2024. He has served as a panelist for several hearings, including the last 2 public contested hearings. He's chaired the Personnel Committee for the Commission, and he has generally been a thoughtful, intelligent, well-experienced, and reasonable, and those adjectives don't always go together, but they do in Ryan, member of the Commission who has participated in a very constructive and incredibly helpful way, and we're really, really going to miss him. Ryan's an outstanding attorney. He clerked for a federal judge on the Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals, and after that, he was an assistant U.S. attorney doing federal white-collar crime prosecution for 7.5 years in the state of Montana. He moved from there to Washington State, where he was senior litigation counsel for the Boeing Corporation for nearly a decade, until he became chief counsel for investigations for Boeing for 3 years, 7 months, which probably felt a lot longer than that in recent years. Currently, Ryan is in Arkansas, serving as vice president and associate general counsel and chief compliance officer for the large national Tyson Foods Corporation, where he is able to put his compliance and safety directives for an enormous corporation to very good use in assuring public safety for foodstuffs in what is really one of the larger of our American corporations that serves the public by providing food. Ryan's also a really good athlete. I know he was a smoke jumper at one point in his career. And our loss is really Arkansas's gain. Ryan has been an outstanding member. I'm confident he enjoyed his time here, but he really did contribute marvelously, and we're absolutely going to miss him. Ryan, did you want to say anything?
Yeah, thanks, Rico. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Well, thanks for those kind words, Rico. I mean, it's just been a privilege to serve on this commission. When we get new commission members in, I always talk about what a great group it is, and that's because of your leadership, Rico, and the professionalism of the staff and investigators. I mean, you are truly professionals, and you bring that every day. And even beyond that, just the membership. I told Rico yesterday when I kind of broke the news that it does feel like family, and that's due in part to everyone just being respectful and careful in these hard decisions that we're making. I can't think of a better volunteer opportunity and experience than this has been. I will miss you all. I'm not doing this because I want to leave the commission, but I am in Arkansas. I told Rico yesterday that the move is final. The house sold in Washington, so I'm in Arkansas. So while I'm still a Washington bar member, it doesn't really make sense anymore since I'm remote. But just appreciate all the experiences and good times we've had over the years. And Tyson's motto is "We feed the world like family." So next time and they do beef too. It's not just chicken. There's beef and pork. So next time you have a steak or a burger, think of me down here in Arkansas. We're keeping the food chain safe and things running on time.
And we're also losing Judy Stanton. This is her last meeting. And so a little bit about Judy. Judy was first appointed to the commission over 11 years ago as an alternate member. She has chaired the education committee and also the personnel committee. Her first full member term started in June of 2021. She's volunteered on a lot of panels that were either continued or settled, but she did serve on the most recent panel and did so very well. One of the things about Judy that she brings to the table, but we might not all have been specifically aware of, is the length and breadth of her public service. Judy's been a Clark County commissioner. She's been the chair of the League of Women Voters for Clark County, and as such was honored by their Legacy Award for outstanding service and leadership. She's been on the steering committee of the Home Rule Charter to strengthen citizen participation on the county commission, professionalize county government, and allow a local initiative option. She's been the president of the board of the Master Gardener Foundation of Clark County. She's the former president of the Fort Vancouver Knitters Guild, which is more a guild than I even realized, because that Knitters Guild has performed such philanthropic acts through hand knitting, such as knitting for and distributing for free hats for newborns, sweaters and blankets to hospitals for mothers with limited means, washcloths and lap blankets for terminally ill veterans, soap sacks for the shower outreach program for unhoused area residents, and sensory muffs to a local nursing home's dementia patients. I was investigating. What did you? I was investigating. I'm just saying. What's been very evident from her tenure on the commission is Judy is just a mess. She's a really good human being, thoughtful, brings fairness and good humor and civic responsibility to the table. We're really going to miss you. Thank you.
I tried to avoid this by attending the last meeting, which I thought was my last meeting virtually. So Thank you, Rico. I can't believe that you dug all that stuff up about the knitting guild. I mean, that was a long time ago. I've also been a fire commissioner and a school board member in elective office. I've run for a lot of elective offices and served a lot of years. But in terms of an organization that I have really enjoyed working on, this one is top. I mean, that the work that you do is really, really important. It's important to all of us as citizens of the state of Washington. And I appreciate the open discussions that we're able to have. I mean, I have served on boards where it's basically a rubber stamp. A recommendation comes from staff and the board just goes along, says that's the way it'll be. But the discussions that we have are very productive and very interesting. And I appreciate that. And the makeup of the commission is awesome. Beyond that, the staff are the ones who have to have the very difficult discussions with people who are being looked at as a result of a complaint. And staff, as Ryan said so well, is so professional, and it has been a real pleasure to work with you. And thank you for the work that you do. It's not easy.
Thank you, Judy. Okay, maybe I should have saved that for the end of the director's report, but there's more. So there's been a lot of training and outreach. I have accepted a request to train pro tem judges for King County District Court in October. The National Center for Judicial Ethics, which is part of the National Center for State Courts, hosts a biannual national college, and that's a unique training opportunity. There is a Judicial Conduct Commission in all 50 states and the District of Columbia, but they're really unique within each state. So the college is the opportunity for commission members, staff, judges, and academics to get together on a national and actually international basis, talk about the work that's done, compare best practices, and so forth. It has taken place, as I said, I think I said it anyways, every other year. Back in the day, it used to be in Chicago. The last time it was held, it was in Washington, D.C. This year, it's in Louisville, Kentucky for the first time. And the dates are October 15th to the 17th. It was uncertain, given the state of the legislative budget session, whether we could afford to send people. We can send people. Now, how many people we send and from what category is going to depend on how much interest there is. There have been times in the past where we had to prioritize people who had never been to a national college before. And if others wanted to go, then the commission paid the tuition, but people had to put up their own for the hotel and the airfare. So I don't know what's going to happen. What I'm requesting of you right now is that we have a straw poll of, are you interested in going? If you could just raise your hand, please. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, okay. And then, Steve, do you think you might be interested?
Yes, definitely.
Okay. And Judge Evans, in a way, I mean, it's great that you're going to be there, but for the budget purposes, he's going to be speaker, as am I. So we'll get reimbursed and our tuition will be waived. But okay, that's good. I'm going to work with you going forward on what the budget will bear and how that's going to work, but pencil that into your calendars, please, if you're interested in going. And then when you do go, I know that historically people have wanted to combine that with a vacation or bringing a partner. It's really important to coordinate your travel with Tanya Callahan. We're subject to state regulations with regard to expenses on behalf of the commission. So it's really important to plug in with Tanya so that it gets done right. Thank you. I was a remote participant in a program entitled Judicial Ethics and Dependency Cases, Goals and Practical Tips, together with Ann Hirsch, who's a retired Thurston County Superior Court judge at the statewide ALC-sponsored Dependency Judicial Training Academy. The Association of Judicial Disciplinary Counsel, which is a trade association, national trade association for people who work in judicial ethics enforcement, is going to have its annual meeting and conference in Washington, D.C. during the balmy week of July 21st. And the attorney members of the office are going to attend that. Our next regular commission meeting is going to take place at the Cedarbrook Lodge here in SeaTac on Friday, September 12th. That will be followed the next day, Saturday the 13th, by the agency's annual education session. And we'll focus on many practical aspects of the agency's work, including best practices for hearing panels. This is, as noted in your members' policy, is a really high priority meeting to attend. They all are, but this one is one of the rare times that we're able to kick back and dig deeper into aspects of what this agency does, how it does it, and so forth. Because as the members know, the meetings do try to be as thoroughgoing as possible, but also focus in on specific cases. So this is a step back, looking at some wider considerations. Please put on your calendars and your phones to remind yourself to log into your CJC laptop computer every couple of weeks so that it can run updates. It won't work without those updates. So it's not just when you know there's something to read. Just make that a regular thing, please, to renew your CJC laptop's brain. Plug it in, make sure it runs any updates. Not unlike Santa Claus, Gareth can see every time you touch your computer. So please do that. And also, Gareth would appreciate any feedback about what is or isn't working well for commission members on your laptops. Especially, he started to send out a new cumulative case list. So one of the things about Gareth is that he is all the time thinking about working on ways to make your receipt and participate of materials and participation as user-friendly as possible. So any feedback in terms of this is working, this is helpful, or I wish we could do that is something that he would welcome and put into use. We had an accountability audit performed by the Office of the State Auditor. All state agencies undergo periodic accountability audits to make sure that the state funds that we use are properly managed and agencies are being run in accordance with best practices to avoid fraud, abuse, and mismanagement. The latest audit that we completed was done with 0 negative findings. In slang for people who talk about audits, it was a clean audit. And the exit interview was attended by several of the commission members. Thank you for doing that, as well as staff. And there is a link in your executive director's report to the report, which explains kind of what I said, but there are no findings. It's just nice stuff. It's a quick read, uncomplicated, and I want to put primary credit to that where it is merited, which is Tanya Callahan, executive assistant, really handles all of the administrative stuff for us. Everybody else is primarily case focused. Tanya handles payments, bills, purchases, all that accounting, all the personnel stuff, and she did. So we're looking for. She did a perfect job. So that was very nice. We have a couple pending commission cases. The panel decision for In re Tracy Flood was filed with the Supreme Court for its de novo review. At this point, Judge Flood has filed her opening brief. The commission's reply brief is due August 15th. The decisions in the In re Rizona case have similarly been filed with the court, and preliminary determination of the record to be sent to the court is underway at this time, and we'll keep you posted. You will have among your materials a graphic display of the caseload that we have. I think that blue line above shows you our overall intake, which is massive, which is why we got the assistance for more staff to help us tackle that and try to take care of that in timely fashion. I want to commend and thank staff for that is now coming forward. But no, people have been amazing, really turning out a very high quality of work and a lot of it. And a warning to the members that with the new staff help, you're gonna see more cases. Yeah, sorry, but that's the way it is. So I think that the practice that we've taken up recently of sending cases in batches as they're done will relieve some of the strain on you, but you are going to be doing more reading because we're going to get more done. And then if you haven't already done it, please check your mark your calendars for the remaining commission dates. That's Friday, September 12th, followed by the education session on the 13th, and then the last meeting of the year, regular meeting, will be Friday, November 21st. That'll be a remote video conference, and Tanya will start working on procuring the dates and the location for next year's meetings as soon as possible, and we'll keep you posted. We do try to account for various different kinds of religious observations and others that might make it difficult for individual commission members to attend. But when we do get those dates, feedback from you, whether they work for you or not, is really, really important to get as soon as possible. And then once we do settle on a calendar for the year, please put them down on your calendars. This commission does really important work, but we only meet 5 times a year. So it's really important for the members to attend those meetings, if at all possible. And I think that's everything for my report, unless there are questions. Thank you.
All right, very good. Thank you, Rico. The next item on our agenda is committee reports. I'm not aware of any committee reports.
Except for the Rules Committee.
Oh,
and
that's right.
Judge Evans.
Judge Evans, good.
Exciting Rules Committee. We have 5 members on our committee, Mike Diaz, Jeffrey Feiner, Christian Nadine, Eric Rice, and myself. We recently met and we discussed 3 proposals. One is an interim suspension of a judge via constitutional amendment. The second is a no-cost access to court records via court rule, a statewide court rule, and then written public comments to avoid sharing of confidential matters via a rule from the Commission on Judicial Conduct. So today is just a brief report on those efforts. So the interim suspension issue, that problem arises when a judge may be charged with a felony or is engaging in some type of behavior that's injurious to the public or to the administration of justice. If we're to pass some type of temporary or to suspend somebody, this body cannot. It has to be done through the Supreme Court. So when there's kind of that pending danger, I guess, or potential harm, there's sometimes a need for suspending a judge. So that requires a constitutional amendment to the state constitution. A lot of the states that have the interim suspension rules, they're triggered by a judge who's been charged with a felony. Other states, they have interim suspension rules that apply when a judge is engaging in activity that poses a substantial threat of a serious harm to the public or the administration of justice. So we're working on that one. And that's in that will potential change is in the apt and capable hands of Judge Mike Diaz. Good luck. And second is no cost access to court documents necessary for CAC or commission investigations. There we have the problem is that one, it's expensive to have multiple users access multiple counties databases or case systems, and it also promotes an efficient use of resources to investigate. Because if you have to wait for paper records, there's mailing time, there's research time, but if there can be instantaneous electronic access, that needs the commission in its investigative efforts. So that effort is led by Judge Eric Rice and Mr. Jeffrey Feiner, and that particular issue can be addressed via potentially at the state Supreme Court rule. So they'll be making efforts to look at that and potentially bring that forward. The third deals with the Open Public Meetings Act and a business meeting of this body. So the issue sometimes comes up is that members of the public will want to share prematurely confidential complaint information to an open public meeting that's better had in a confidential setting. So to that point, when written comments come from members of the public and they've been submitted, the commission distributes that to the members and members of the public if they want to see it. Similarly, a person could verbally share confidential information in this public setting, and that may compromise the investigation. So a new commission rule could address that problem, allowing only written comments during the public portion of meetings to safeguard against sharing of confidential information. And those comments could be screened and diverted to a confidential setting and dealt in that portion and not in the public portion. So that rule would require an amendment to our commission rules, and both myself and Judge Judy are leading that effort. So that's what we're doing, and we'll give you updates as we make progress. I'll call back or third time.
All right, thank you, Judge Evans. Any questions for Judge Evans?
Judge, could I ask a question regarding rules, but off the subject there? Just something I wondered about. Several commissions in the United States have the ability to impose a fine. Washington does not. Is that a rule that came from the very beginning of time? And maybe Rico is one can speak to that. And then what have you thought about seeing if we can impose a fine?
There are some states that can impose fines and costs on judges in commission proceedings. That has never been contemplated in the foundational documents for this commission in Washington. I have to go back and look again at legislative history to see if it was even discussed, but it's never been incorporated in any of the governing provisions, the Constitution, the enabling statutes, or our rules of procedure. So that would require, that is a very substantial change to the charge of the commission and its the power. I'm certain it would require a constitutional amendment. The culture of the state, the expectation of the state has never been that a fine would be permitted or costs imposed. I know that judges who contest commission proceedings, excuse me, often hire counsel and they undergo considerable personal expense themselves. There's at least one county, I think, that has an insurance pool that judges can pay into and avail themselves of to defend against the commission. But it would be very, very new and something that's not kind of in the culture of this state. And I'm not commenting on it one way or another as to its advisability, but it would be a whole new dimension, it would be a whole new thing for this agency, and it would require a constitutional amendment. I don't know if the other members wanted to comment on that aspect that Commissioner Briggs brought up.
I assumed it was going to require an amendment. But it is something I've thought about and wondered whether or not it's another tool in our toolbox. And if other states are using it, why can't we if we so chose?
And to some extent, I think it's like I read an article a long time ago about medical care in the United States and why it is the way it is. And they were comparing it with Germany and England and a couple other places. And the analogy that the writer brought was roads that originally were cow or deer paths. This, because of historical circumstances at the time, has been the path that was taken. So in World War II, England, being under direct physical attack, really needed the populace to have the assistance of the government in paying medical bills. It became normative. National health care is normative there. It's not normative in this country. It's business model. So a little bit, since its inception, the commission never has imposed or collected fines or fees. So it is different, and some states very much do that, and that's a big aspect of them, but they've done it from the beginning. So there would be, I think, rather a shock to the system at the proposal, at least from the judiciary, because, it's an unpleasant process, no matter how we go about it, for a judge to be the subject of a commission proceeding. And it's expensive and it's stressful. And then there would be the added literal expense of the potential for fines and fees. So I know that that idea would have a lot.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Briggs. Any other questions for Judge Price? I mean, Judge Evans, I'm sorry. Bradley, raising your hand. Okay, that's fine. All right. Do we have any additional committee?
I'll just note that Tanya will be talking to the personnel committee. Okay. But there's nothing relevant.
Nothing at this point. Okay. All right. The next item on our agenda is public comment. Ms. Baldos, do we have any public comment?
No written comment was received.
All right.
And just for the record, there are no members of the public physically present at this meeting today.
Very good. All right, then that brings us to adjournment unless there's any other business to come before this meeting. I don't see anybody so noting. So with that, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
So,
Then moved, we adjourn, seconded. All those in favor of adjournment, say aye.
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 Any? All right. Meeting's adjourned. Thank you all very much.